Chapter 1. The Weight of Doubt. David hadn't slept in days. The kind of sleep that drags you into the murky depths, where shadows chase you in your dreams, and you wake up gasping for air, your heart pounding like a drum. No, this wasn't the kind of tired that could be washed away by a few hours of rest. This was the kind of tired that gnawed at you from the inside out, the kind of tired that whispered in your ear, telling you that nothing would ever change. His apartment was quiet, too quiet. The hum of the refrigerator, the occasional rustle of the blinds swaying against the window, it all seemed to amplify the deafening silence. He sat at his desk, the glow of the computer screen casting long shadows over the papers that were spread out before him, none of them offering the answers he so desperately sought. Bills. Deadlines. More bills. All the weight of the world pressed down on him like a tombstone that had been set a little too tightly over his chest. He'd been praying. He'd been asking, pleading even. For what? For something, anything to change. For a sign that his faith wasn't in vain. But it felt like God had hit the mute button on his life, and all he was left with was the silence. The endless silence. David ran a hand through his hair and closed his eyes, trying to steady his breath. Why? Why is it so hard? He whispered to the empty room. And then, like a bad radio signal, something fuzzy and cold crept into the edges of his mind. He froze, his breath catching in his throat. The voice, it was there. That low, rattling hiss that curled around his spine like a snake. You'll never make it, David. The voice, his own thoughts, he told himself, whispered the words, but they were anything but comforting. It was as if the darkness had taken form. The air around him thickened. A pressure built up in his chest, and for a moment, David thought he might suffocate. You're not good enough, the voice continued. God's forgotten about you. You've prayed for nothing. David's stomach churned. It wasn't just a voice, it felt real. The kind of real that gets under your skin and into your bloodstream. The kind that makes you wonder if you're losing your grip on reality. His fingers trembled on the edge of the desk. He wanted to yell, to scream at the darkness that seemed to have filled the room. But his throat was tight, his words caught in the back of his mind. What if the voice was right? What if God had forgotten him? The weight of it was almost too much to bear.